Namaskar Shobaike. This is Rutvij Joshi from Indian Football Casuals, and today we have a new guest in our the third episode, which is themed on uh, Kolkata Derby, which happened yesterday. The under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers and the results on Durand Cup. So, without further ado, let's start. Srijon, what are your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Oh, okay. So first of all, being an East Bengal fan, obviously, it was a moment to cherish, a moment we were, what do you say, eagerly waiting for 4 years, 1,657 days. That's a long time, bro. That's a long time.
That,
Last time we won, the last time we won, the world didn't know about a virus called COVID or Corona, whatever. Yeah, and a lot happened also, during this period. Uh, if you see the trajectories, both the sides took with the decision of Mohun Bagan joining hands with ATK and then erstwhile, inheriting that team, that champion side, and the performances that they had in the ISL. They won the ISL last season. Whereas we, obviously we suffered. There's no hiding from the fact. But what caught my eye yesterday was the way we approached the game. If you see, just let's leave the past games aside. बस कल का मैच के टाइम पे अगर if we see the approach that Mohun Bagan management, club officials, sorry, not management, club officials, fans had, it was just like the number of goals that they were going to score. The result was never in doubt. Even we spoke, right? The result was never in doubt. But then again, in a derby, you cannot do that. So this is the power of the derby, you could say. Past
this is
result,
the
past
biggest
history doesn't
difference.
matter. It's the game on the pitch that decides it. And okay, coming to the game, so first 10-15 minutes, Mohun Bagan looked the better side. East Bengal was sort of settling down. We could see, Ikdam starting May, Armando Sadiku with that long range effort. Then you had Manveer making those runs down the right flank. Mandar was facing a bit of issues handling him. But after the 15th minute, I felt, we could see Carlos talking to the players. Nanda and Mahesh dropped deeper. They helped the wingers, Nanda helping Khabra and Mahesh helping Mandar more. And that sort of, helped East Bengal maintain their shape. And after that, it was a complete team game that East Bengal played. I felt Mohun Bagan, obviously, both teams are in the preseason. So let's not judge them too much. But yeah, fitness wise, both the teams struggled a bit. But overall, what I felt was East Bengal played a team game. It was a team performance, whereas Mohun Bagan were more reliant on their stars. Okay, let Hugo Bumus do something of individual brilliance. Sadiku, Jason Cummings, Dimitri Petratos, you have them all. But what was the turning point was Carlos Quadrat's tactical acumen. Carlos Quadrat completely, what do you say, outwitted Juan Ferrando yesterday. There's no doubt about that. Every
Yes, no
question
doubt.
that Juan Ferrando could ask about, Carlos Quadrat had an answer to it.
I
So
mean,
that,
when you look at, yes, you can continue.
so when I'll just point out something, is you have a 1-0 lead. You have a 1-0 lead. It's raining. Mohun Bagan have thrown all guns in. Sahal Abdul Samad, Dimitri Petratos, Jason Cummings, Ashik Kurunian, everyone on the pitch. And at that point, Carlos Quadrat introduces Guetta, a 16-year-old kid. That's the confidence that he has in his side, and that's something I like. That was something I couldn't see from this East Bengal, my team for the past few seasons. Maybe Robbie Fowler a bit showed it. That courage, that way to fight. So yeah, that this is nice changes that has happened behind the in the backroom stuff. Now it's matter of time. We need to give Quadrat time to build this squad and get it further. But overall, for all East Bengal fans across the globe, it was like it's a day we'll cherish. Yes, we will cherish and relish it.
Uh, okay, so it was very nice of you to speak so good about what happened yesterday. So when I watched the game, I was doing a live com on Khel now. So I noticed when the ball was in Mohan Bagan's control, uh, VYBK's pitch is wider than the normal pitches. They've set up in a two box of four in defense and two strikers up front. So they, East Bengal were not, they didn't have the firepower in them, but they were set up in such a way that they could negate the brilliance of who's the left winger? Who won? Liston Colasso.
Listen, Kulaso.
Yes, they can negate Liston Colasso. They could negate Hugo Bomu. They could negate Armando Sadiku in the first half. Uh, they had even Mandar did well to make sure that Manveer doesn't cut in from the right end, gets a goal for the team. So it was a brilliant effort. But when you look at as a larger perspective, yes, East Bengal has won it. So what do you think there are areas of concerns for the team?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so first area of concern that I have, which I felt uh, Qualis needs to rectify very soon rather than later. That is, if you see, they've been making a lot of unforced errors. You know, I've seen, not under much pressure, the passes were misplaced. So that is one cause of concern. That, one is, okay, you're forcing a error that's acceptable. वो हो जाता है, fine. But unforced errors is something that I would like to see this team get better with. Uh, Having a bit of calmness on the ball. I saw a lot of one touch football trying to be played, which maybe resulted in a few mismatches too. So that's again a area that we'd like to utilize. Carlos Quadrado is known for his set pieces, so I expected a better outcome during set pieces. Our attacking set pieces mostly defensive wise we were okay, no issues. मतलब ऐसा कुछ दिखा भी नहीं that I can comment on. But
Yes,
attacking wise, I was actually disappointed. LC got those first balls, but then the final outcome was really poor. So
but
for that,
I'll interrupt you here. But isn't it too soon for Carles Quartet? Because
obviously
I
it's too soon, but then it's the derby too. So if you see from that perspective, I think we could have done a bit better. Okay, and another point that I surely feel we are missing is we need an Indian striker, one Indian striker at least someone that could come in, like obviously say someone like an Ishan Pandita who can come in the second half and get a goal. Because if you remember that ball that Edwin played to Suhair, Suhair should have beaten Subhasish Bose on the diagonal
yes,
run.
diagonal one. And then he did a slide tackle on him in the second half. Yes, I do remember that.
So in those situations, because obviously, let's face the facts. We're not going to be playing too much of attacking football. Like we're not going to be attack, 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 because we don't have the resources for those. So whenever we get chances, we got to make the most of it. At least test the goalkeeper. I'm not telling we are going to score every chance we create, but at least we should test the goalkeeper. So that is one point where I feel we need an Indian striker at least. That's the initial places that I feel we need to improve. And if you talk about Mohan Bagan, so they have a huge gap in this side, and that's the midfield. I know people will say, okay, they have Glenn Martins, Anirudh Thapa, Sahal Abdul Samad. If they play with the midfield that they played yesterday, each and
I
every
know.
ISL, each and every ISL side will trouble them. I'm not getting into results, but each and every ISL side will trouble them because Anirudh Thapa is a very good box to box midfielder. He'll do those work. He'll cover the ground. He'll do it. but he's not someone that can actually dictate play for 90 minutes. Glenn Martin is a bulldozer. Glenn Martin is a bulldozer.
Yes. So, do you think, Srijon, maybe the Juan Ferrando would have should have played 4-3-3 other than playing 4-2-3-1 formation, rather play Sahal not in the number 10 role but rather in number 8 role. Sayak is here. Hi, Sayak.
Hi guys.
Well, see, the beauty of 4-2-3-1 is such you can actually shift it to a 4-3-3 very easily. That's the beauty of 4-2-3-1. Right. Now, it's again ifs and buts. Yes, maybe it could have worked, maybe not. And I don't know how fit they were. Likewise, even with East Bengal, they could have easily shifted to a 4-3-3 if they wanted to with Nanda and Mahesh. And as I can see a comment coming up, absolutely, we need a right winger. East Bengal does need a winger and a striker, I feel, because our bench strength in that regard is a bit poor. Not a bit poor, it's actually poor. But
They
yeah,
do the
on
same.
but on a positive note, I seriously don't want us going into the market to get those players. I feel East Bengal reserves have two very good players, Aman and Roshan. So I'm willing to see them get promoted to the senior team. Like Aman is someone he could have beaten 90% of the Mohun Bagan players with speed. He's someone of that caliber. So I hope in the upcoming days, Carlos promotes at least a few from the reserves teams because the reserves have been playing really good. So that way, I hope we just don't keep them static to the reserve side and give them that motivation. If you perform for the reserves, you're getting promoted, and this is a continuity that we should have, or else then these talents are again going to go away and it's going to be a lost cause.
Sayak, we'll again start with you. Your thoughts on the derby yesterday, and what were your reactions? We saw how excited you were from your Twitter, from your tweets, from your post, from your article, from your even your player ratings article. You given them points wholeheartedly. So tell your point of view from of the derby.
Yesterday's result was very very important for East Bengal and for Kolkata football itself because if you have one team winning all the time, the derby loses its charm and what went wrong was starting from every Mohun Bagan fan to every Mohun Bagan player to the officials to the media, everybody was so overconfident. I think that bit them back. And East Bengal did the basics right. Like I think more than East Bengal playing their own game, East Bengal tried the best to not let Mohun Bagan play their own game. Like they didn't let any the spaces. They didn't let the Mohun Bagan midfield have any freedom. Like they disrupted the midfield so well. Crespo and Crespo and Shovik Chakraborty were the best players for me in the middle, especially Shovik. Like I'm not a big fan of him. In the past few seasons he has not really impressed me, but yesterday he was a beast, and like he never let any Mohun Bagan midfielder to have any space to make any forward passes. And about Carl Quadrat, I think he's capable enough to take us to top six. Like I can see he knows what to do and what not to do. Only thing I think East Bengal might struggle uh, in terms of depth in the squad and lack of options. Since it's a long season, so like we have a decent starting 11. The starting 11 is good enough to challenge any team in the league, but to have a attempt to go top six, you need lot many players to rotate because it's a long season. And as far as the derby is concerned, it was mad, man. It was mad. Like not a single East Bengal fan you would know like would predict even if win. Like everybody went to the stadium, like they were mentally prepared to face a loss. Right? Like it's a super team. Like they spent 70 crores. They brought World Cuppers, European Championship players. Like they spent whatever they could spend, and we at the other hand have been dealing with instability, change of investors. Even Imami is not a company which would spend whatever it wants to. So we have so many problems, and and it's a new team as well. Like they started training after the more Bagan team started training. So we were complete underdogs, and the victory is even more sweeter when you are an underdog and you beat your rivals in David versus Goliath kind of a battle. So it's brilliant. I'm super happy, and I think if we do manage to win this, we are going deep into the tournament, and we might face them again, and we are going to beat them again. So,
So one thing was when I was writing the press conference before the game. So I was writing East Bengal, and Carles Quadrat was not looking that confident going ahead of the derby. We spoke one on one with Srijon that he said he spoke about the reality. He knew that only two players from the last season were renewed by the East Bengal team, and they were not in the best of physical condition. But somehow something in the game clicked for East Bengal and its players, and I don't know something Carlos Quadrat must have said in pre-game. We would never know, but it was nothing short of a spectacle for a neutral football fan like me. I was doing the commentary, and trust me, when that goal from Nanda went in, I was like, this, the unthinkable has happened. And I was so happy. And I knew Mohan Bagan would not be able to penetrate and won't be able to score because they've had 4 or 5 attempts after the goal on target. But you have certain I mean you predict the game before and you know that nothing of that sort is going to happen, and it did happen. And what we saw after the game, the players, the fans jumping from the VYBK railings to and hugging the players, and we also saw an image of a young East Bengal fan uh, on the arms of Else. So it was very good. As a neutral fan, we enjoyed it. It is a derby like last when I saw the whole game last time when East Bengal won. Choppy Justin, I guess, scored the winner in the 2019 season, I believe. 2019, yes. So it was a great spectacle for Indian football, and we might also see derby again, given the fact that both the teams qualify for the next round, and we might see them in the uh, semi-finals. So, but there is one thing that concerns me regarding Mohan Bagan is they have a game, AFC Cup game in next 3 days. That shouldn't be the problem. But the other issue is they've registered 33 players, and according to the rules, it was just you could just register 30 players. So, golf fans have to say on this.
Okay, so
Series,
let's.
you can start.
Okay, so what they've done is, again, like ISL has a salary cap of 16.5 crore, and teams find ways to get past it. So what they've done is, if I'm not wrong, I have to check. They have played 33 players in 3 games in the Durand Cup, but the CMS slot of the AFF site has only 30 slots. So what I feel is they must have deregistered 3 players and got in new 3 players. So they already played the game before, and they deregistered them before the derby, and then I think entered them into the portal. And like obviously, like it's not fair for a side to do that, given your players are fit and not in a state that's an injury that would rule you out of the tournament. which should be the case and which is actually the general case. But then obviously, you know, we've seen teams in Indian football take use of this loopholes and get past it. So, as far as my knowledge goes, I know that the CMS site for the Durand Cup has only 30 slots in it. So, first of all, how they registered 33 players, there's only one viable outcome to it. That must be after the last game against Punjab FC, they must have deregistered a few players and registered some more players in that spot, which is, well, technically you're allowed, but it's not fair to do that. Otherwise, I
Sayak,
don't know.
Sayak is out, or I am out.
Hello.
No,
Hello,
Sayak is out.
yes, I am. Am I audible?
You're audible now. Sayak is gone.
Okay, Sayak is one, not an issue. Uh, so yeah,
And one point I wanted to mention while you are mentioning, the post-match reaction from the fans that happened on the pitch. Uh, this is something which the team, the club needed the most. You know, even apart from the victory of a derby win, you know, obviously the derby win means a lot, a lot, a lot. But going into the season, it won't hold too much of a what do you say value for the players. It's just another victory in a tournament. It's not going to impact ISL in that way. But what it is going to impact is that the way the fans connected with the players post match. The love and affection that Carlos Quadrat and his boys could see from the fans. You see, I don't know if I've ever seen Prabsukan Gill cry after a victory for Kerala Blasters, but the lad was crying after yesterday's victory. So
that was
that is the moment, that is the impact that's gonna have in this team, and that was something that was missing from this East Bengal side for the past few years. I felt, if we okay, the COVID seasons, the first two seasons we played in the ISL, the players literally never visited, obviously couldn't visit the club, didn't have any interactions with the fans physically, so they never understood the what do you say, the brand, the heritage, the legacy of what East Bengal holds, what this community is, what these fans are, what they have lost, what they have gained, and everything. And well, last year with Stephen and stuff, it was again a new start, and I somehow felt, the fans also weren't too welcoming towards Stephen, obviously for obvious reasons, and I won't doubt them. He also made certain statements which weren't, I would say, taken in good manner by the fans. That you keep losing and stuff, something which Carlos hasn't, and Carlos has been very practical and very, what do you say, positive in his approach towards the interactions. So this impact that yesterday the fans had with the players, this will impact the team in a very good way mentally. The bonding will increase, and that is something, I feel this was needed. This was the most needed thing at the start of the season.
right.
I
Sayak,
think I
your
think
thoughts?
yeah, I think one important thing it did that, like, there are many families across Bengal, like they are traditional East Bengal families, and they are like the elders in the family are East Bengal fans. They watch the matches, but it's tough to get those young fans, like they are East Bengal fans technically because, yeah, like their father supporting, but to get those fans in the stadium, you have to win the big games. And when East Bengal and ATK Mohun or whatever the name is, like when the two sides join the ISL, most of the new fans from Kolkata, like they picked, like like the automatic choice was Mohun Bagan for them. The 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 East Bengal families who have young football fans, they were not watching ISL so much. Like they were following East Bengal, but they were not going to stadiums. So to attract those fans which are from core East Bengal families, those young fans, 16, 17-year-old fans, you have to win these derbies. You have to get some trophies. And so the fans who jumped into the ground yesterday, like it's a core memory for them. They will grow up and realize that yeah, like I was there. And then crossing into Solid Stadium is very difficult. Like it's not a random Isbama ground or Nehati Stadium. The barricades are very high, so it it's an epic thing for a fan to do. And so it's gonna it's an experience for those young fans that yeah, I was with the players, and the players realized that, like, I'm pretty sure someone like LJ or Quadrat or Gil, they have never seen such reception anywhere in the world. Like, Quadrat was in Spain, he was an assistant manager or something. So to get such reception, the players also understood that what the derby holds, what value does the derby hold. So it's important for the players to feel it, know it, understand it, that this is what it means. Like playing on the field for 90 minutes is okay, but to understand what it is all about. Because as Srijon said, like when the fans saw on TV that Gil is crying, he's breaking down, it was a sight to see. Because at the end of the day, fans want players and coaches to understand what we are going through. Like they are here for a season, 2 seasons. We don't care. We want the team which fights for the crest. And Kuku Adrat, well, yeah, he will need more support from the management, but he has been very positive, as Srijan said. And we need someone like him to not give excuses before the game. Yeah, you lose the game, you can talk that yeah, this happened and so we lost. But unlike previous season, Quadra knows that we cannot have negative press conferences, and he is very outgoing, and so we want that, and I'm pretty positive that this team will fight, and they have understood like what the fans have been going through for the past 2 years.
Very thank you, Sayak, for this. Uh, so, Sayak, speaking about, we spoke about East Bengal. Now we speak about Mohan Bagan now. So, uh, लाइट जलाओ भाई सिरेजन भाई
हाँ
क्या
करंट चला गया नो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी
चलेगा चलेगा so we are talking about Mohan Bagan now. So what do you think what went wrong for them? Were they too complacent before the game? They were too overconfident. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think Mohan Bagan missed someone like Makhub, like in the middle, or someone like Johnny Kauko. Like those two players were there in the midfield. They used to carry the balls forward, and with Bumu, the only sole quality midfield in the middle, and we know Bumu is someone who does not have a high work rate. He's creative. He has the skills. He knows what to do, but he's not someone who would go around the pitches to collect the balls and do the dirty work. So I think Mohan Bagan needs someone like him in the middle to counter Shovik and Crespo in the middle. And I think, as you said, I think the entire overconfidence around the media got to the players as well, got to the coach as well, and like East Bengal, like they deemed East Bengal as someone they could easily walk past them. Because like after the Bangladesh army came, like their reserve side smashed the team, I think 4-0, and they ended up drawing 2-2. That's a very demoralizing result at the start of the season. And all the Israel fans are like, how can we draw against such a random team from Bangladesh? It's unacceptable. So all the results, all the entire media talk about it, and the lack of quality midfielders in the middle, and also I think Sajiq Cummings, like they are great strikers, like they have great CV, but I think they also haven't managed to gauge the quality of Indian football per se. Like yeah, they are great strikers, but I think they will need to play a few more matches to understand. Like Indian football also has enough quality to cross trouble. So I think there is immense pressure on Juan Fernando right now. Like already in the last season, even after winning the ISL, like there were reports that Goenka is not satisfied with what Juan Fernando has done. So and with Haba sitting on top of him, it's immense pressure for him because he has to deliver. And Goenka has spent whatever he could spend, right? And 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 if Juan Fernando does not go deep in Asia, does not, and anything less than a shield shield for Juan Fernando is trouble for the Spanish coach. So, so, so I think the entire situation is not in favor of Juan Fernando, and I think Goenka will be pissed that even after spending so much money, you have to win these crunch games. So I think it's a lesson learned for Mohun Bagan fans, players, and the coach itself that being better on the paper is not enough. You have to execute. You have to get your tactics right. You have to get your plans right. And a star team is not enough. Uh, a team needs 11 players, not just 11 individuals. So I think that's what happened with Mohun Bagan yesterday.
Right. So we've spoken about the game, we've spoken about the results and the bigger picture. Now, getting on to the abuses part, we saw videos of East Bengal fans abusing the Mohan Bagan players when they were going out. They were shouting at heckling the Mohan Bagan fans inside the railway station. So you guys must have attended Derby some or the other time. So what were your experiences? I'll start with Srijon. I don't think Sayak has ever went for a Derby game as a spectator. So I'll start
I
with
went to
Srijon.
60
Srijon.
Derby. For 60 Derby,
Okay,
whatever.
okay. So recent. You guys can hear me?
Yes, now we can
No.
hear you.
Okay. So recent experience last season, the first derby. Last season's first derby, I think me and Sayak we sat together. Yeah. So after the game, I was waiting for a friend of mine, and then we were walking towards this place called Kadapara because his car was parked there nearby to the other side. So the amount of abuses I faced there, and those were matador or trucks filled with their supporters. They wanted to tear my jersey off, blah blah blah, and this happens in Derby. Even Shayak was, I think, heckled in the metro station, railway station. So this is what they do, and now the complaints that the Mohun Bagan fans are giving, I would just tell them to take a look at Kadapara after they win. They'll know. So it was this, and this happens everywhere in the world after a derby, and it's nothing too much of a fuss, until and unless things get too physical, verbal abuses will always be there. That's part of a derby, and that's part of sports also. So, that's there. I just hope the physical abuses don't get too out of hand, and like we don't lose it there. And it's not like they were very well behaved after they won the derbies. It's absolutely not that. It's just that they've forgotten everything and are in shock after yesterday's results. So whatever can come to their mind, they're doing that.
Uh, so for neutral fans please explain what Kadapara is. Some of them
Okay,
don't know what Kadapara is.
okay, fine. So it's a locality very near to the stadium. Okay, it's a locality very near to the stadium, and it's not, what do you say? I really don't want to use the word, but to give them a basic general idea, please, don't take it in sense. Somewhat a slum sort of an area, very near to the stadium, and it's predominantly fully Mohun Bagan fans that stay there. And again, a word I don't want to use, but it's their actions that have prompted me to use this word. And they're not a very culturized, uh, let's say, civilized fans. When they win, the sort of incidents that have happened to East Bengal fans there, you know, uh, people have been blinded by bricks. People have been hospitalized for months. These are East Bengal fans facing Kadapara after the Mohun Bagan win or an East Bengal defeat. So it's predominantly that area, and it's very near to the stadium. So whenever East Bengal loses, for an East Bengal fan, the first thing after the loss is how do you go home without going near Kadapara because things get violent there. You don't want to be in that situation. Some can avoid it, some cannot avoid it, but then again, it is what it is. So that is basically Kadapara, famous for its, what do you say, the
Hooliganism.
hooliganism after a derby win. And the worst part is it's not fist fights, like you see in Europe, fist fights are mostly, it's not fist fights in Kadapara. So they randomly throw bricks at cars. We've seen senior East Bengal officials get manhandled in Kadapara. Those have happened. So yeah, it happens, and this is a part and parcel of the legacy of the derby. You cannot ignore it.
Right. So much inputs today on the Kolkata derby. So we'll shift the focus just now from the derby. Now for Mohan Bagan, the next big thing is the AFC Cup. The qualifiers of the AFC Cup, they play on Machendra FC, the champions of Nepal, on 16th of August at the VYBK. The game kicks off at 7 p.m. We don't have the telecast details yet. Maybe Sony only will telecast. Maybe Zio.
I think Geo TV will telecast. I
Okay.
have a hunch that we might get to see
I
it on
think
Geo TV.
I think Geo has all the rights for all
Exactly.
AFC
AFC
events, right?
Geo
So
has
I
all
think
the rights, so we
yeah,
must
so I
be
think
able
it
to
would
see it
be
in Geo
yeah.
TV.
So yes. So as you as you could hear from the two gentlemen here, we might see the games on Geo Cinema on
Geo TV,
Monday. Geo TV.
not
Okay,
Geo.
sorry, my bad. Sorry, my bad. On Geo TV. So maybe we'll get the details once the D-Day approaches. So AFC Cup is a big thing for not just for Mohan Bagan, for East Bengal, what is for Indian football in particular, because if Mohan Bagan go and do well, and they are expected to do well with the amount of money they put in the squad, they are expected to do well. So, so what are the things? I mean, they'll most probably play against in the group stage. They'll play against Odisha. They'll play against Dhaka, Bahani, and another fourth club. I believe it must be from Bangladesh and Maldives. Some Maldivian club, I believe. So, so, what do you guys think? What does Mohan Bagan needs to make sure that they qualify from the for the knockouts? So, your thoughts, gentlemen, starting with Sayak.
I think playing in AFC group stage is obvious. Like most Indian teams would not have any problem facing Maldivian or Nepal clubs in the playoffs or qualifiers. I think the real challenge is in the group stage itself. Like we have Basundhara yet again, and they are a great side. I think if Basundhara plays in ISL, they will be in the reckoning for top six. So like they're a decent team. So I think that's the only obstacle Mohun Bagan should face in the group stage, given they qualify. So it's a cakewalk in the South Asia zone. But I think, last time also, they had a star-studded lineup, and Kuala Lumpur City is not a great team as far as Malaysian football is concerned. Like they only have JBT. So last time they went out to Kuala Lumpur City, which was a shame because it's a club like Indian clubs can beat, and even after spending that much of money, they could not beat Kuala Lumpur City. So I think so. The real challenge is after the group stage ends, and if they do manage to get past the first stage, they have to face an Uzbek side, and that's the real challenge again. Like 2 years earlier, they got smashed 6-0. So I think if they do manage to beat the Uzbeks somehow, the final should be a cakewalk because the other teams will be again from Southeast Asia. So I think the only problem Mohun Bagan should be facing is to beat those Uzbek sides. Uh, Except that I think there is not much problem. Given given what Indian football overall is, like any Indian club is expected to go until that stage. Like all the clubs before that are beatable for the Indian side. So with Mohun Bagan spending that much of amount of money and going up being hell bent about doing something in Asia, like when APK and Mohun Bagan merged 2 years back, the target was to win something in Asia. And I'm sure after spending huge amounts of money, that target remains the same. So I think Mohun Bagan has to somehow get past the Uzbek, and if they do, I think they might be coming home with the Asian country. But it's a very it's a very lengthy prediction for me. Like lot can happen. Like Basundhara can cause some problems. But yeah, like it's fairly straightforward unless the upsets happen. I think at least in the semifinals they should be going. Like if they can't go to the semifinals with this amount of money, I think it's doomed. Especially because this is the last time, like last AFC Cup where we will have such easy opponents because AFC is restructuring the entire club structure with the Champions League being solely made for the top 6 7 countries. So the new AFC Cup will be tougher. Like Japanese sides will join in, Chinese sides will join in, Australians will join in. Like uh, like like the next season's AFC Cup will be just a weekend version of current ACL. So we had no chance there. Like Indian sides cannot beat those sides. It's reality. So this is the last chance an Indian club might do well in AFC Cup. Because in the next season we will only have the third tier third tier teams. So and Srijon is saying Uzbek club nahi hai is saal. So I might be wrong, but yeah, like the crux is that this is the last time Indian clubs will be able to do something in Asia in AFC Cup. So might as well take it.
So,
And
Sayak, as Sayak mentioned, this might be the last time we get an easy draw. And as he was saying that the most difficult part could be the Uzbek sides. Well, the Uzbeks aren't in the AFC Cup this season, like the Uzbek clubs. So I think the most difficult clubs from West Asia that we could face is the Jordanians and the Iraqi clubs. Okay, Lebanon, Kuwait clubs will I think we can manage. But again, Kuwait clubs, they have money. So depending on the foreigners that they play out, there'll be, that would be an issue for us. Uh, Other than that, okay. So coming to the group, so Mohun Bagan play Machindra tomorrow. Same time, you have
16 on
Dhaka.
16.
Oh, sorry. On 16, and on the same date, you have Dhaka Abani playing Club Eagles of um Maldives.
Maldives, yes.
So they from then they're probably going to get into the group, and the group is not going to be easy because you have Odisha FC with Sergio Lobera currently in Thailand with solely this purpose that he needs to take his side to the next round of the competition. So it's not going to be easy for Mohun Bagan. You have Basundhara Kings who have had embarked on this very ambitious footballing journey that they have undertaken. If I leave aside Jamshedpur FC because of Tata and their connections, they're probably the only Southeast Asian side with their own stadium. They have their own stadium, and by own I mean, okay, East Bengal and Mohun Bagan have our own grounds, but basically it's on a lease from the Indian Army for 100 years, and it keeps renewing after every 100 years. But what Vasundhara Kings is that they don't just have their own land; they have their own stadium. They've built a stadium on their own, and you see the prospect and project that they have in place. It's fantastic. Uh, Coach that Indian football fans will know a lot, Oscar Bruzon. He headed that project, and he's been very influential. So, and their scouting networks are actually very good. They get in quality foreigners, especially from South America. We see the likes of Sony Norde that came in, Wetsen and Selme, Sony Norde. They all came from Bangladesh to India. And, it was actually the Bangladeshi clubs that scouted them. So it's not going to be easy game for Mohun Bagan against Odisha and Basundhara Kings. So it is going to be those two games that will decide the fate. Apart from the group, if Mohun Bagan manage or Odisha, I'm talking about both Indian clubs here, if they manage to get out of the group, and then I feel the most challenge will be faced by the West Asians, because this year without the Uzbeks, I don't think the Tajik teams. But again, it's football, and club football is actually fine margins given the balance of foreign players that you have. So yeah, it's going to be tricky, and especially Mohun Bagan need to sort out their midfield. Otherwise, you never know. Coming to Machindra, I saw them. They arrived today morning, and I saw a video of the press conference. Not a press conference, their coach interacting with the media in the airport. Uh, where he sounded very confident, which to me seemed a bit overconfident. So I just hope they don't get humbled on 16th. But overall, I don't think it should be too difficult for Mohun Bagan to get past Machindra, given the quality that Mohun Bagan have. And also, they just came with three foreigners till date. Like I think only three foreigners landed, so they are foreigner short too. So it shouldn't be that difficult for Mohun Bagan. But again, you never know with that midfield of theirs. If Machindra can get control of the game, then you never know.
So see, the foreigners, what I know of Machindra is one of the foreigners has played for erstwhile Minerva Punjab FC, and he has played in the Kolkata in the CFL. I forgot the name. He was part of the ARA as well. Just the season before goal, the ARA pulled him from the from Minerva Punjab. So he was a big name back then. But somehow with age catching up upon him, and then COVID coming in India, he must have got some good amount of money in uh, Nepal, and then he must have gone and went there. This is his second season over there in Machindra. Uh, at Machindra, the thing is they only have a season of that is 3 months long. They don't have a bigger season, so I don't think it should be a problem for any ISL sides playing against Machindra. Uh, they just have to get their basics right, and then goals will come. The spaces will open up, because the wider pitch of UIBK, you can see the spaces in there. You just have to penetrate. You just have to give the right balls at the right time. So Machindra shouldn't be an issue for them. But then comes the group stages and Odisha as well. Maybe their pre-season is not what they they would like to have. We saw that they drew against the third division Thailand league team, but we don't know who played which players played there. The clubs did not put out the starting 11 there, so we don't know. But with Sergio Lobera, Roy Krishna, and few other signings, you don't underestimate Odisha. You might, as Mohan Bagan or East Bengal, they hate Odisha FC, and even people from Delhi hate Odisha FC. But
It's due to
they
Rohan
have
Sharma.
bigger.
We don't have anything against Odisha. Odisha. It's a lovely place, lovely state, lovely people. Rohan Sharma doing batshit things on Twitter and wanting attention. So we just here.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay,
just like he wants to brew a rivalry. I feel that.
Yeah,
okay,
very desperate.
okay, okay, okay. Get it. So yes, so shifting the focus from club football, will go to under 23 AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. The camp was supposed to start yesterday with the 80 game. Sorry, not 80 game. We are very sorry. The Mohan Bagan Super Giants assistant coach Clifford Miranda leading the under 23 side six. So it was supposed to start on 12th, but AIFF had postponed it to 20th. They were supposed to Igor's team match the representatives of AIFF and all the coaches of the ISL teams were supposed to meet and about the were supposed to meet and discuss about releasing some of the players for the camp before the Asian AFC uh, Asian Cup qualifiers. The qualifiers are starting from 6th September, and we are drawn against China uh, 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 and another two teams. I have to check again. Uh, uh, but so the games are starting on 6th. So ideally, what Igor Stimac and Clifford Miranda wanted was a 4 week 4 week camp before the qualifiers, but some of the clubs, you name it, Mumbai City FC, East Bengal, did not want to, release the players. So, speaking on that, they were supposed to meet last week, but we don't have the details in the media that what has happened in the meeting. But I think they should have put something because they've given the statement that they were supposed to meet on 5th of August, and they couldn't 5th of August, but somehow nothing has come out from the AIFF or the other media houses. We don't know what has happened. But do you guys think that 4 week camp which Steamach and Miranda wanted was a good option for the team? And should the clubs have released the players?
So who is going? Shall I go?
Okay, so now this is a
Same
catch.
concept.
So this is a catch 22 situation. I feel if let's look at it from both the sides. Since it's the under 23 side, Steamac knows few of the players like personally in terms of being part of his camp. So he knows a few of them, but then again there are some players he's not looked like he's not seen them up close properly, maybe just from the stands in their games. So there's that. But if we look from the club's point of view, okay, let's just take the example of East Bengal. Prabsukan Gill had such a great game. Now, had the camp started yesterday and they would have released him, things could have been different because, well, you see how things are. So, and since I think as far as FIFA rules goes, the clubs are not bound to send players for a national camp until and unless it's on the FIFA friendly dates. And if the players are under professional FIFA contracts, so the clubs are not bound to send the players for a national camp until and unless the camp is during the duration of a FIFA window. So that way, I think both the clubs that openly refused or openly wanted the AFF to change their decision, Mumbai City FC and East Bengal, I feel they are right in their own rights because they want to keep their players and they want to take Durand seriously. But on the other hand, well, it's not. But I feel the duration that Igor Stimac asks for, a 4 week preparatory camp, I feel it's a bit tough given the teams are going through the season. Every team has uh, certain objectives to fulfill. You cannot only be focused about the national team. For like, as a club, every club would want their players to represent the national team, but then they also have some basic objectives to fulfill. So this is a situation which, it's very difficult to choose a side, pick who's right, who's wrong, because both have equal demands. And I feel it the best way to this is to come to an amicable solution. I think the stakeholders and the AFF should sit down properly and chalk it out.
So,
I
Sayak, your
think I
thoughts?
think yeah, I think AIFF and FS will have to plan better. Like you cannot villainize the club. At the end of the day, football is a club-based sport, and all the rules in the world will be in favor of the clubs. Like as Srijon said, clubs are not bound to release players beyond the FIFA window. So I think, and also AIFF has not organized a single under 23 friendly. Like if you look at China, Oman, they have been playing a lot of under 23 games since January, and India has not played a single game. So it's unfair to call your players from clubs without organizing a single friendly, and we have the Asian Games where it's now a battle for prestige for AIFF and Indian football against the Olympic Committee. Yeah, Rutvij have some water. Okay,
Yeah,
so and
I love it.
yeah. So I think the AIFF also has to show intent that they are serious about under 23 as well, because we focus a lot on under 17. We send our players to tours in Europe, but nothing really happens for under 23. In the past few years, we just have been playing games which have been mandatory for us, right? So I think if we don't show intent, you can't really expect the clubs to show intent and release the players. And the scheduling can be better. Like AISS has to sit with egos team and identify which all games we are looking to win, because if ISL can ignore the Indian Premier League, the cricket league, and go beyond April, May, and uh, uh, then we can have many windows where the clubs will be willing to release players. So the clubs, AIFF and FS will have to sit together, and they have to identify FIFA windows, under 23 competitions, every competition possible where India will be playing. That's why I identified those competitions first and then make the club schedule, so that nothing really comes against each other. And in India, to make any sport famous, you have to focus on the national team. Indian people are made like they're oriented to support the national team first. Like it's a legacy of hockey and cricket, to be very honest. So so to spread the game, we need the national team to prosper, because as we saw in the FAF Championship and in the Continental Cup, India performed so well. We had so many new fans in the horizon. So I think to grow Indian football, we need the national teams to do well. But again, like we have to ne- we have to talk, to communicate, negotiate with the clubs. Like you cannot just ignore the clubs. The clubs will make the national team. So better scheduling, better communication from both the ends will solve will solve the issue. It's not a big issue per se. Like other countries will release players. Saudi Arabia probably will have a 20-day camp before the 23 qualifiers. I read somewhere. So if you do the scheduling part right for the clubs will be more than happy to release players. Like they understand the situation as well. So it's all about scheduling, and it can be done better, I think.
So, you spoke about this. There is one controversy that I want everyone to notice and everyone to talk about uh, is Clifford Miranda. He is associated with Mohan Bagan, and then you name him the under 23 head coach. Isn't it something controversial on part of AIFF, having known that he has signed for Mohan Bagan, and then you also expect him to take uh, as a head coach role for the under 23 sides. You have so many other coaches who just completed their pro licenses, who are that experienced there. People like Srijon, who have completed their pro license now. Vivek Nagur, there's Sanjoy Sain, and there are many other coaches who in Indian football would be happier to be part of the national camp, but somehow they chose a person who is associated with one of the biggest clubs in India. So isn't it something controversial on part of AIFF?
Well, you know, let's keep controversy aside. I feel there could be an conflict of interest here too. Okay, I'll tell you why. So you're the under 23 coach. You have the best under 23 talents at your disposal in the camp. What's to say? Obviously, I'm not making allegations or stuff, but it's something that is possible. What's to say that the coach will not try to lure these players into a single team? So you have that poaching sense, and then there could be favoritism because it's conflict of interest. Okay, you're coming from a club and then you're managing a club also and you're managing a country also. What's not to say that players from a certain club are not going to be given preference compared to maybe worthy talents from other clubs? So it is purely a conflict of interest. This is not EA Sports FIFA where you can manage a national team and a club's team simultaneously. And I seriously feel Clifford is a very good coach, and I won't blame him. Obviously, if the nation called, he responded to it. But I feel AIFF should have taken a better step here.
Sayak, your thoughts?
I think pretty much the same. Like it's a blatant conflict of interest. With the schedule being so packed, some and Mohun Bagan already has the cream of Indian talent in India right now. Like they can obviously benefit through internal communication. Again, no allegations here. It's something that can happen. So it's not a good call from AIFF because I think Clifford Miranda joined the Indian side first and then he joined Mohun Bagan later. I think if I'm right. So
Yes,
AIFF already knew that he has a professional commitment. So they shouldn't have gone with Clifford Miranda. So it's a bad call for me. I think.
something I want you guys and everyone to let know. There was this same thing happened not so long ago in Indian football. A coach was asked to not manage a certain club and be part of the national setup only. Even though he was given a short-term contract, and even after what I could tell, I won't name anyone, but I'll tell you the scenario here. So there was a certain coach who was given a short-term contract for the national side, right? Uh, Afterwards, once his contract got over, he wanted to join a certain club, but the what the AIF told the person is if he wants to be associated with the national team in future, he shouldn't join any other club even after the completion of contracts. And what happens in AIFF is AIFF doesn't give a year long or 2 year long or 5 year long contracts. So they give the short-term contracts and they don't allow the coaches to go to the clubs and earn money. So the coaches, so after all these matchups, the coach did pick up the national side and went on to sign for the club. So this has been happening. I don't know how EIFF allowed this, but this is something very some top journalists in the country know the whole scenario of it. I'm not going to disclose it because someone's life is in danger. I won't disclose the name, but some big journalist around this thing knows what happened. So yeah, this is what I have to say about this issue, about the conflict of interest here. Uh, so that's it for the under 23 Asian Cup part. We'll move to Durand. Srijon, you want to start something?
Okay, so yesterday the whole focus was on the derby, but the game that happened in the afternoon, Northeast United FC versus FC Goa. So that was a good game too. And if you see Sandesh Chingan's own goal, Sunil Chetri would be proud. Sunil Chetri would be proud of that finish. That run and that finish. So Sunil Chetri will be proud. Okay, jokes apart. Okay, initial observations of Northeast. I've seen the first game they played against Lajong in the stands. Uh, they look a better side compared to last season. Honestly, at least the Benelli has been able to get the team in shape. Okay, uh, I don't know how they'll fare against side because they started. They actually have had proper practice coming leading up to the Durand. It's not like they've just come started like last season. So I don't know how they'll feature against sides when the sides, like say for example, when FC Goa, Manuel Marquez comes and the proper setup. But initially, right now, Northeast United FC look good. They look better than what most people think they are. Uh, the fans are also hopeful. FC Goa, well, both the goals they conceded yesterday were their fault. One is an own goal, and the other was a pure blunder by Dheeraj. That's there. Chennai have been good, uh, decent, I would say. Good would be an overstatement. Hyderabad again, it's Hyderabad. We know with all the issues that they've been facing, it's sad to see a team that promised so much. The brand of football that they showcased, and then now going that way down. Well, that's Indian football again. You have to spend wisely until and unless you have unlimited deep pockets, or else the road will get bumpy for you. They've been good. Chennai is good. What I feel from the group here is, I think Northeast could just stop the group, but you never know. But well, you never know what happens against the games against Downtown Heroes. But they could. They have a chance. But FC Goa's currently look the better side to top the group. In the other group, I feel Chennai is going to go through. There's no sort of doubt in there. But yeah, uh, you'll obviously have what you call Delhi FC on the fray, trying to give them that chase. That's there. Kokrajhar is a very tricky group there, where you're having what do you call it? Orissa FC's reserves doing decent from what I'm heard. I've not seen them play, but what I'm hearing is they're decent. And well, I think an Indian Army side would is topping the group currently in there. So there's there. Coming to Kolkata, I would say, well, Group A. We've spoken a lot about Group A, and now it's on East Bengal's hand. If they win their last game against Punjab FC, they'll top the group. So that's one point of looking at it. Group B, I feel Mumbai City is anyway going to cruise through. They, you know, uh, they've been fantastic again. You know, doing Mumbai City FC things. You know, two games they've scored I think around 8 goals, conceded just one. So again, Mumbai City FC doing Mumbai City FC things. I think the crucial part would be which of the second place teams would go through. That's where a tricky battle would happen. which of the teams, second best place teams would go through. So, based on current standings, I think Northeast United FC and East Bengal will go through based on the current standings as the groups are currently. But if East Bengal don't top their group, it's going to be a big, what do you call it, disappointment for them. And Northeast United FC too have a chance, but I don't see Goa slipping up against Downtown Heroes. So yeah,
There is Rajasthan United FC as well. Who
yeah, Rajasthan
play
are exactly. Rajasthan have
What
played
about
one in lot.
what about Group C, guys? Like Group C has just started today, I think. Like Kerala and Gokulam Kerala, like
Group
it's like it's
C,
still a
Group
very
C is Group C is gonna be very interesting. Well, Kerala
Bangalore has
Blasters just got, what do you call it, washed away, I would say.
Bangalore haven't even played once, so
Bengaluru haven't even yet played. I think their first
yeah,
game is tomorrow,
tomorrow?
if I'm
Yes,
not wrong. Tomorrow,
yeah.
yes,
Air
yes,
Force,
yes.
Air Force.
Air
yeah.
Force.
So their first game is tomorrow, and then yeah, that will be the first time we see Bengaluru this season. So yeah,
They are playing reserve side, so you don't expect much
Ex-
from them.
but I think yeah,
Uh,
Gokulam should go through.
Yeah,
Kulam should do. Yes,
like like
and I would.
Gokulam Kerala versus Bengaluru reserves will be the game to watch for. I think in this group before things get decided.
And plus those two best place, second place teams, that would spice up. That would
Yeah.
spice up because currently, if you see the two best place, second place teams, you know, Northeast and East Bengal are just like cruising through it easily. So with Group C starting, that would spice up too.
Yeah, right.
What are your thoughts about the way Kerala Blasters did today? Let's will like Gokulam is okay. Kerala Blasters fans,
I think
you
I
know,
think it's a reality check for them. Like last season, I remember they kept on blaming the monsoon. Every team is playing in the rains, and they kept on blaming monsoons and everything. So I think it's good that they got the reality check, and also it's great for Kerala football. I really hope Gokulam Kerala deals with the branding a bit. Like if they have a Kerala centric name or a Malabar centric name, I think they deserve more fans than they have right now. They are focusing on women's football so much. Like they're being national service for women's football. I think like they are paying good salaries, and they are and I think they do deserve to play in the ISL. They won two I League titles, but there was no promotion back then. I think it's a brilliant club. Like Kerala football is lucky because most of the Kerala players will come through Gokulam Kerala, not through Kerala Blasters itself. So I think I really hope Gokulam Kerala does something with the branding and become a proper identity of the state. And as far as Kerala Blasters is concerned, I think it's a reality check for them very early, and they have very bad track record against I League sides in Durand Cup. Like they keep on losing to random teams in, in the beginning of the season, and they have always performed so bad in Kolkata uh, against Ivan Vukomanovic. I think it's another reality check, and I think Kerala Blasters have a lot of work to do to fight for the top six this season. It's very competitive. As you said, Northeast are looking good. So it's not gonna be as easy as last season, especially for Kerala. They have a lot of work to do for me.
I really
Uh,
wish to see Gokulam in the ISL. Like I really wish to see that.
Yeah,
Gokulam is
they
one side.
they
We
they
need
they they'll do well. They've signed the FC Goa man. What's his
Educapedia.
name?
Edupedia.
Edupedia.
yeah,
Yes, yes. And they've got Edupedia in there. Their striker Sanchez. That's what his name is. He doesn't have a. He is good. He looks good. Even Srijon. Uh, I saw him play when he was with AR, and I knew he was going to be a star, but we might see him good as a potential player of the year in the I League this season because he has speed, he has precision, he has everything with him. So I think Sri Kuttan is in very good hands right now. They just need to do focus on what they are doing. Uh, Other thing is from the IT side is Rajasthan United. They don't look that good on paper, but they've got someone like Coach Kundu, who has been with the club ever since the start of the this thing. Ever since they came into the I League. So I believe a team which can give competition to Gokulam Kerala is one is Mohammed, and we all know Mohammed that will give them a run for the money for Gokulam. And the second club is, I believe, is Rajasthan United FC. They don't look good on paper, but I have friends in Rajasthan United, and I followed them for a very long time. And what they speak with me, you can see it on the pitch, and you know they are little by little they are doing well. So you you shouldn't be surprised if tomorrow morning Rajasthan, a team like Rajasthan United joins the top division of Indian football. So that is what my thoughts on Rajasthan United were. So how good is Parthiv Gogoi?
Okay.
Lads
Yeah.
could
So Parthiv has looked sharp. What I've seen this season is, well, again, last season he was good too. But this season, in the two games that he's played, he's looked very sharp. His positioning sense seems to have improved. He knows now exactly where to be. So, uh, if Jingan hadn't made that finish yesterday, I still feel it would have been a goal because Parthiv was just behind him. And if Jingan had missed the ball or couldn't reach the ball, Parthiv would have finished it. So, in that way, Parthiv has looked very sharp. If you see the first match that they played against Lajong, I think after Romain, Parthiv was the best player on the pitch for Northeast United FC. He's looked really good. And seriously, I don't feel he's going to stay in Northeast United FC for long. Maybe this season. Someone is going to come up and pick him up and go.
Goenka has eyes on him,
Ah,
and
obviously,
he will buy him and bench him. So
the usual suspects. So yeah, but he's looking really good, and I just feel he makes the right decision to go to a club where he's going to play day in day out, not sit in the bench and earn crore a year, because that will waste him, because he's just now getting into the pinnacle of his career. He's just starting off. He has a long career ahead. He's young, he's sharp, he's skillful. So I just hope he keeps his head calm, cool, and in that way, his brother will guide him, Pragyan. Both of them are in the same team. So I feel, Pragyan is matured, yes. I've spoken to both the brothers a lot of times, and Pragyan is someone, he said to me that, yeah, I know my brother is a star and all, but it's my job to keep him grounded and level headed. So that way, Pragyan plays the role of the big brother really well. So I hope, they obviously, again, Indian football money is a big thing. And well, maybe that's a topic for another day. But well, let's say that there are teams out there that can offer Parthiv much better financial support compared to what Northeast United FC are giving him. So I just hope he takes a choice and makes a decision about his future in a way where he plays, not just earns, but he plays regularly. Then he's part of the playing 11, because he's someone you don't want to bench. He's good. He's good.
yeah,
Maybe on
about yeah, please continue, please continue.
maybe the only asset, if you talk about assets, only asset that at Northeast United FC possess.
Yeah,
Sayak, your
about
thoughts.
being grounded, I think we have a pretty clear example right in front of us at Joby Justin. Like he was the star boy for East Bengal, like just 3 to 4 years ago, and he's throwing in Derby, and he was superstar. And then he went to 80K for the Going Cup money, and look where he is now. He's playing in KFL for Bhuvanipur FC, and interestingly, he was in the stand yesterday in the general stands in the Derby in the East Bengal stands, and he was within the fans cheering for East Bengal, and the fans like when East Bengal versus Bhuvanipur happened, and Joey Justin came to the fans. The East Bengal fans were pretty pissed that he ditched East Bengal for 80K 3 years back. So he got abused and shouted at, hurled abuses. But yesterday we saw him. We saw him in the East Bengal stand, and fans felt a bit sad that what could have been, like what could he become and what he has become. Picking the right club at this age in the 21, 26, the spectrum of 5 years, these 5 years is extremely crucial. You don't want to be another Bobby Justin. So you have to pick a club where you keep on playing, and money will flow through. Like if you play 4 to 5 years of football consistently, you're gonna be playing till 13 in India itself. So you have to pick the right club at the right age, so that you don't give up on your potential. So hopefully Parthiv also does the same. Pick a club where he can play. So yeah.
Right. Before now, this is like 80 minutes. We never had such a big episode before. So it is a very so it is 82 minutes right now, and it's continuing. So before now we go, anything else to say before we wrap up the show? I want you guys to name three players who've been outstanding for in this Durand Cup up until now. I'll start with myself. My three picks would be Parthiv Gogoi, Srikuttan, and probably someone who doesn't know, but Hardik Bhatt from Rajasthan United FC. Not because he's a Gujarati, he's a Marathi, he's a Mumbai born guy. I don't have any such Gujarati this thing, but he came back from Mumbai City a 6 months loan, and now he's given the captain's armband, uh, and he's only 23, 24. He's young and he's been given the armband. It is huge for him, and I know him from the time when he was not a professional footballer. He was from Mumbai. Before he joined the first ever professional club of which was ARA back in 2018-19 season. So I have known him from 2018, and now I'm seeing him in 2023, a captain of an I League club. It is very huge opportunity for him, and Odisha FC was a very bad game, was a brain fade moment for Rajasthan United. But the first game which they won, Bhatt was immense. He was immense. So he makes my top three I League Indian player. Sorry, not Durand Cup Indian players up until now. Srijon, you can start with your picks.
Well, you know, first of all, given the timings of Durand games, I haven't been able to watch all the games. Obviously with my job responsibilities and all. So from the games that I've watched, obviously yes, Parthiv makes it to the list. He's been immense. Again, I would name another Northeast United player, the forward Manveer Singh, Northeast United
Yeah,
FC's.
he was
Manveer
good
has been,
yesterday.
even in the first game, Manveer was good. And the other player would be only Indians. Are we talking about just Indians?
You can have a foreigner as well.
We are
Saul
gonna
Crespo.
pitch the
Saul
players to
Crespo.
Sriman.
Saul Crespo. Saul
Saul
Crespo
Crespo.
makes it.
Saul
Sayak, your
Crespo.
thoughts?
When talking about Durand Cup, we have to make one obvious mention. Litton Shield, the Indian Army legend.
Hmm.
Like I think he always uh, plays brilliantly in every Durand Cup I've watched so far. So that's one pick from my side, and I think Mohammedan mein there is one player. I think his name is David Lalhasanga, and he's a attacking midfielder, I think. So he has been playing very well. Like I saw one assist he made, and so I think he's been doing great. And there is one another midfielder, William Paulingham from Manchester United. Like even he is doing great. So I think these two names, like they have not been discussing much. So I think these two names, uh, Clifford Miranda's Mark should be watching if they ever watch this stream. So I think these two names they can maybe keep an eye on. Apart from Nitin Shield, but he cannot be called up because he has service duties. But yeah,
He's an Indian Army legend.
yeah.
Right. So guys, we'll wrap up here. Anything else to say? Srijon, Sayak?
No,
Well,
like only one request to Quadras. Just win the Punjab FC game. So that's the only requirement.
Srijon, your thoughts?
well, my thoughts. Just hope uh, the quarterfinal draws are good, and that we get exciting games. And I feel at least from the quarterfinals, the timings should be shifted from the 2:33 p.m. kickoffs, because it's very difficult for people like me to get to watch the games at that time.
Same here, same here, same here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that would be one point, and that's so. Yesterday, itself, I was talking with a few of my friends here, and they were also like, they wanted to go to the stadium at 2:30, but then the, the weather, the temperature, everything has, it's such a chain reaction that until and unless we address those issues, we are never going to properly get a solution for the fans not coming to the stadium in India. You know, this is one point which I feel has not been properly discussed in Indian football. Discussed in the sense, in podcasts, in fan circles, it has been, but never with the what do I call it? The people who run the show, so
Administrators.
administration. Yeah, exactly, that's the word. So the Indian football administration should actually sit down and maybe have a chat with fans from across places, and we sort of try to tie everything together. So what is a perfect time for Guwahati might not be a perfect time for Ahmedabad, right?
Perfect,
So
yes.
exactly. So we should be flexible with that too. Leading up to the ISL, I would wish to see, as it's the league is growing, we now have 12 teams. It's growing. So that strict timing of kickoff of 7:30. I feel it should be a bit, what do you call it, varied for different places, so that fans are able to come. And maybe for places like other cities, you could delay it a bit so that people could come out from office and get to the stands. So yeah, overall, we need to, if we want to see holistic development of the football culture in the nation, we must address fan issues too. And Sayak would agree. For example, YBK, such a huge stadium. It's probably one of the monuments of football, if I would say, a monument of football globally. During a game, you would face water issues, drinking water issues. The only other option that you are left with is probably drink that tap water and then suffer from you don't know what. So
That's the
these are
only
things that,
alternative.
so these are points that need to be actually discussed, and seen to, so that the entire fan going experience is elevated. And obviously, fans blame the clubs a lot. I know, I've seen, and yes, there's so much that a club can do, and then because they don't own the stadiums, it's owned by the corporations or municipal corporations, state governments. So in the end, everyone should actually sit down and ensure that the fan going experience is better, because when we watch a football game with empty galleries, it hurts. तो खाली चेयर देख के तो दुख तो होता है, जितना भी जो भी जितना
Like
कुछ बोले.
look at the ticketing situation. Like to watch a game in Kolkata, to watch a football game in Kolkata, it's a 2 day process. You have to book from the phone, go to the venue, redeem the ticket, and then come back to your home and go the next day. And even if you like have the ticket, you cannot because the redemption centers is not the venue itself. Like even if you want to, you have to go somewhere else, come to the stadium and watch the game. Like it's a big headache, and Durand Cup could not even give online tickets this time. So people have been lining up since 5 a.m. the derby tickets. It's extremely unprofessional. Like you have to make it as smooth as possible because at the end of the day, football is not a TV show. It's it's a sporting event, and stadium attendance matter more than the TV audience for the players itself and for the game to grow. So they have to look at all these aspects. And as you said, like 7 p.m. Kickoff in Guwahati is not 7 p.m. in Bombay, for per se. So we have to take the problems, geographical problems in every part of the country, and then form the timings. It's not about getting the TV audience. We have to get fans in the stadium because that's what matters the most at the end of the day.
So when we wrap it up now,
We are in edit
it has
time,
been
right?
more.
90 minutes
It is
plus
90
plus.
minutes, 90 minutes plus. We expected this podcast to be around an hour, 60, 70 minutes. This is what we expected, but we except way time way beyond that. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have enjoyed our podcast. So thank you very much for joining us, and please subscribe our channel so that we will have more and more such discussions coming ahead, and we will add more and more people. Today, Srijon was joined us. Next week, someone else will join us, and we'll have a better conversation on Indian football. So, requesting you to please subscribe our channel and give us your thoughts on the comment section. We keep tabs on it, then we will answer your questions again. Thank you so very much.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Thank you. It was a
Bye
pleasure.
bye.
Thank you.
Done, done, done. Thanks, guys.